Welcome back into In Focus Kentucky. We are continuing our conversation with Deputy Commissioner of the Kentucky State Parks, Rob Richards. And while those visitors truly enjoy being able to come to these state parks, there has to be a lot of work that is done to maintain these parks and keep them up to standard.
Right. That is correct. So the capital budget kind of goes more towards the larger infrastructure things, but then we also, from an operating standpoint, have to take care of from a day-to-day standpoint, and that is challenging when you have 49 parks and 17 lodges and whatnot. So it is a challenge, but we try to be good stewards of the money that we received. We have two sources of funds. We have the revenue that we generate from the sales, and then we also utilize a portion of the general fund, or what is produced from the taxpayers. So we have to be really good stewards and making sure that all this is available for people in the state and also outside the state to enjoy. Last year we had a study that was done that said 45% of our revenue came from outside the state. And then that's really important from an economic standpoint, to pull those people from outside. And I think a lot of it may have to do with, we are a good economic decision because we don't charge for admission, and we have a diverse offering as well. So.
And with there being 49 state parks here in Kentucky, I'm sure it's hard to put together a list of the best experiences for people to have if they're trying to travel, make travel plans. But if you had to kind of line out different items that people should put on a list to check out, what would you say?
Sure. While we're here, definitely a hike up to Natural Bridge. It can be challenging. There is a sky lift to the top, so if you want to do an easier trip there, you're not missing out. Definitely a view from the top of Natural Bridge. If you've never seen Cumberland Falls, by far go see that. But once every month, when there's a full moon, we have a moonbow, and that's unique to North America. So that's the only place in the North America that you can see that. That's definitely on the bucket list. We have a wonderful art display at John James Audubon in Henderson. If you don't know who John James Audubon is, he is a 19th century artist that sold all these books of all the different birds of America. And one of the few displays of his work is in a museum in Henderson. Let's see, if you're a golfer, you definitely want to go experience the 13th hole at Yatesville. It's over a 250-foot drop from your tee shot to the bottom. Wow. It is a par 4, and it is definitely a signature hole on that course. I would say you definitely want to see, while you can experience all kinds of wildlife, we have 3 main wildlife experiences. In the west, we have Eagle Watch, where you can take a boat out and you actually see, and this is done in the wintertime, and you can see the eagles in their nest. We have Sandhill Crane, which is around Barren River in the southern part of the state. And then in the east, we have the elk tours with Jenny Wiley. So we have that. For the Lexington area, Waveland, I would encourage you to go see the vintage baseball experience that is held there. That's kind of a unique display of what baseball was like in its first onsets of that. Trying to think.
But definitely sounds like a lot of very just unique experiences for people to have, and you kind of touched on all these different local partnerships that the Kentucky State Parks has in these different areas of the state. So how important is having these partnerships with these different organizations and different locations to make sure there's a lot of fun activities for people in our area?
Sure, and it's one of our challenges is, as I mentioned, how large state parks is, and trying to address all the capital needs that we have. So one of the examples of one of our partnerships that recently occurred was at my old Kentucky home in the theater there. it was around a 60-year-old building facility. It needed major upkeep. It's important to the area, it's important to parks, it's important to the surrounding community, and the joint partnership with Nelson County, and that has now made that possible to continue that operation. And we have similar stories like that with Jenny Wiley in the east, with the Jenny Wiley Theater. We also have a success story for a marina, a small marina at Lake Malone, which is kind of in the western part of the state. We had an endowment that allowed us to, we working with them, they donated the money, and now the people of the park get to enjoy a nice marina there. So.
And share with us, so obviously the state parks, they are free for people to go and visit,
Sure.
but the economy, how do state parks affect the economy here in the Bluegrass State?
In 2007, a report came out that the economic impact provided by parks was a little over $1 billion, $1 billion.
With a B.
With a B. And while that's not all just the revenue that the parks, we found that there's a lot. We employ about 1,400 people throughout the state at our 49 parks. The majority of those are definitely during our season because there's a lot to take care of. But when a park comes that is located in the county, there's a lot of other businesses around the area. Take Natural Bridge, for example. I mean, you've got several restaurants and you've got several places from the interstate to the Natural Bridge entrance that probably wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the state park. So I think that's kind of where the billion number comes from. So.
And one of the last questions I'll ask you about is just, you touched on it earlier, but for people who are traveling to these state parks, there's a lot of historical type things that people can be able to learn and be educated on just from looking at different kind of markers that are listed at these state parks. So talk about that as well, just how it is truly a learning experience for people, whether it's your first time or maybe you're revisiting.
Correct. And one of our key initiatives is to protect the historical aspects, the nature side of it, and the historical aspect. And that's not only making sure that things are taken care of, but to educate the next generation on those. And then also, we have up at Big Bone Lick near the northern Kentucky area, we have a lot of the prehistoric bones, the Macedon bones, and things such as that. So learning about that, and joining generations together and doing that is really important to us. And I want to highlight, we have a family adventure quest, and what that does is it's a challenging, but it is an educational activity that we try to bring families together. It involves, taking pictures of you doing activities throughout, but we do challenge you to learn about some things as well. So I encourage that as well.
And for people that want to learn more information about the Kentucky State Parks and recap some of the things that you talked about today, how do they do that?
They go to our website, parks.ky.gov, and you can, from that webpage, you can find out anything about our accommodations, or camping, or golf, hiking, anything such as that. You can book reservations that way as well. So.
Well, Deputy Commissioner Rob Richards, we really appreciate you joining us on In Focus Kentucky and talking with us about the different opportunities people can have here in our state.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Coming up, we'll travel to the Red River Gorge, where one company allows you to zip at speeds up to 50 miles per hour, soaring 300 feet over the gorge. Next on In Focus Kentucky.